Morning, everyone. Dr. Eric, the fitness physician. I'm continuing on just a part two of my topic on essential fatty acids. I wanted to dive in a little bit of detail and show some images because probably wouldn't be able to read my writing if I put it on there. So I'm going to talk about the details with mitochondria and cellular pathways. One thing that I talked about briefly was one of the enzymes in the mitochondria and optimizing mitochondrial function with inflammation, which of course is everywhere nowadays, especially with things like traumatic brain injury, autoimmune disease, just general illness. There's a lot of everything. Things get fired up, and that can affect the mitochondria, and it can affect the pumps. What I mean by that is inside the layers of the mitochondria, there, as I mentioned in the last video, there's ion channels and calcium and potassium and sodium. All these different electrolytes and ions have to be transferred from inside to outside and back, vice versa, and they can get kind of screwed up, especially with inflammation, especially the calcium pumps, and it leads to abnormal firing of the mitochondria, therefore, which is going to affect your energy levels because the mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of our cells. So, with these things, this is one enzyme that gets involved, this ubiquitous mitochondrial creatine kinase. It's involved in, again, an energetic regulation of these calcium pumps. So omega-3 fatty acids can actually normalize levels of this creatine kinase, which can lead to regulation of the calcium pumps and normalize cellular and mitochondrial homeostasis, which of course is massively beneficial for your mitochondria, and which means it's beneficial for every part of your body. So another massive benefit of a appropriate dose of omega-3. So I'm going to show you a couple graphs. These are all kind of showing the same thing I talked about last time, the delta desaturases. So what the importance of this, the eicosanoids are involved in, naturally made and involved in numerous pathways. They sometimes, there's good ones and there's bad ones, to very, very simplify, dumb it way down. Some that are anti-inflammatory and pro-inflammatory, but overall they're very necessary. They're needed. So as I mentioned, there's the omega-3 and there's the omega-6. One of the first pathways is the delta 6 desaturase pathway kind of determines that. Um, Now, this can be when you eat fatty acids or when you have fatty acids, they can go down either pathway. Obviously, we prefer them to go more down the omega-3 side because it goes eventually to the EPA, the DHA, et cetera. Those are very beneficial, whereas we don't want to go too far down the other pathway. GLA is good, GGLA is good, and arachidonic acid, but from there it can go down to more of the pro-inflammatory pathway. So by shifting that, we can actually inhibit that enzyme or actually shift it to the left by increasing our amount of omega-3s. It's kind of like overloading that enzyme that pushes it to the left. So that's one way to do that. Um, Here's a simplified version of linoleic acid, the delta 6 desaturation. It goes down to GLA and DGLA, and we want it to go down this pathway here, the anti-inflammatory, not down the pro-inflammatory side. So we do that by increasing our amount of omega-3s. Flax seed and flax oil and can do that somewhat, but they don't convert as well. And other people have been concerned about that saying it's not going to, we're going to shut down GLA. Now, if you're doing a lot of omega-3s, I do recommend you taking GLA, borage oil, black currant seed oil, primrose oil, etc. And it's a moot point, right? So bottom line is also with this delta 5 desaturation enzymes, again, we prefer the omega-3 pathway. So that's another thing that the omega-3s can do. Again, we want to shift things to the omega-3 side. So that's basically by providing that, it's going to help shift that pathway over to the right. So I want to show that visual. Now, again, we talked about complete nutrition. B6, magnesium, and zinc are needed for these initial delta 6 pathways. And for the delta 5, we need vitamin C, niacin, and zinc. So it's important to have appropriate supplementation. So the bottom line, I don't want to make it too confusing, but as I mentioned, I just wanted to show you that we can shift this pathway by having too much omega-6, not enough omega-3s. It's going to go down this pro-inflammatory pathway. So we want to shift that by increasing our intake of essential fatty acids and pushing it over to the right side. Very beneficial. So I wanted to have that little visual, a little bit of detail that people don't talk about these enzymes very much, and the cofactors involved, these certain particular nutrients, like the vitamin C, the niacin, magnesium, and zinc. So a couple little pearls there I thought everyone would like. So everyone, I hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and we will talk to you soon. Thanks.